Hey Leggari Nation! Watch how we used our epoxy pigments to coat these countertops. We used soft tan and burnt caramel and blended it using a squeegee. This is something you can do over your existing surfaces like Formica, tile, concrete, wood, and more. Check the description below or visit our website at www.leggari.com to get your kit today.
All right, so we got the product mixed up. Now it's very important that once you mix that, you're basically ready to dump it out. We don't want that sitting in the bucket any longer than it has to, so we kind of want to dump that out very, very quickly. So it's always good to just, before you mix, double check, make sure everything's ready. You got your tape on your edges. Obviously everything's plasticed off, so when you're done mixing, you can walk right over and pour the product out. So for this one, we're gonna do puddles. It'll give us a more even design all throughout the counter. You've probably seen some other videos where we do like a pattern. If you guys are wanting to do a pattern with these colors, that's totally fine. A lot of options with that. But for this one, simple puddles. If you are doing patterns, you can use Sharpies to mark out your design, paint sticks, anything that will create a line in the primer. That'll give you kind of a guide to follow. But since we're doing puddles, there's really no thinking. The biggest thing is we want to make sure when we're pouring these puddles out, we get the color all throughout the counter. We don't want to pour 90% of one of the colors out and still have half of the project left to put color on. So I'm always cautious of where I'm pouring out, how much I have left, stuff like that, especially if you're doing like an island, different parts of your kitchen. It's good to just kind of jump around to those sections, pour out the color kind of randomly, go back, add more until you're completely done. So when we blend this, we're gonna be using our Leggari squeegee. We cut them down. Skill saw, you can simply cut them any shape, size you want. You can also cut on each edge of the handle, so you can have a handle. I like to just cut small pieces like this, easy to control. But you can see how we have more of a uniform design all throughout versus kind of like a pattern. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna spritz it with 91% isopropyl alcohol, small to medium drops, and that's gonna create a lot of dispersing effects in these pigments. So I always like to test it, right? We want those small to medium drops, and then hit the whole surface. You can see how it just creates those cells right away. Okay, once we're done with that, we let it evaporate for 5-10 minutes, and then we're gonna mist the surface with denatured alcohol. All right, so after about 5-10 minutes, that isopropyl is gonna evaporate. Biggest thing is when you're spraying the denatured, you don't wanna flood it too much, or it's gonna get rid of a lot of those cells. It's gonna kind of mute all that dispersing effects that we have. So we wanted to spray light mist. If we need to hit it twice, we can hit it twice. So that's what I'm gonna do. So guys, it's been about an hour. This is ready to go. We probably could have pulled it a little bit sooner. It's not moving as fast as I would like, but there's still enough resin on there to coat this. Now I'm gonna go over scraping the drips. We let this, the edges kind of drip and run for about 15-20 minutes. Didn't even have to touch them. As long as you slick those off with resin to where you don't have any dry spots of primer, that resin is gonna flow over nice and evenly, and it's gonna basically look like we cut this out of a piece of natural stone. So it's a really cool process. So now we wanna eliminate these drips. That way we don't have to sand those the next day. If you guys do have to sand those, you can use 80 grit, 100 grit palm sander. Hold it flat and just make sure you're not nicking your cabinets, right? So just kind of make sure you don't hit your cabinets when you're sanding, and you can sand those flush. But as long as you scrape them before it sets up using a putty knife. I like the putty knives versus a paint stick because they're thin, they're sharp. You're basically cutting that off instead of kind of pushing it along the edge.